Okay, so we have talked about cloud contraction, right? The journey of the star from cloud contraction to the main sequence. Okay, and when we discussed it, we showed this on the HR diagram, right? ঠিক আছে, পুরো জিনিসটা আমরা ডিসকাস করেছিলাম। গুড। Now, today let me talk little bit, not much, little bit about what will happen after the star is born. Remember the newborn star, when it is born, yes. So, if this is our HR diagram, right? This is L, this is T. So, what did we show? We showed something like this. Okay, it was like this, the evolutionary path, more or less. And where was the star born? Remember, over here, the star was born, and then it took some time for hydrostatic equilibrium to be established. And this is the Hayashi track. We talked about it. ठीक है? Good. Now, let me talk about the star. When it was born and the hydrostatic equilibrium is established. Let me now talk about it from that time. So, the star now looks like this, where the dot at the center, you see, has the highest temperature, right? Why? Because gravitational force and also the gas pressure both has to equate, otherwise there will be no hydrostatic equilibrium. Now we have hydrostatic equilibrium, but that equate means the gravitational force, where will it be the maximum? At the center, because of the weight of all the layers above, right? Now the temperature is around few millions, right? So that hydrogen burning is initiated. So this is ZAMS, zero age main sequence, ZAMS star. Just hydrogen started to burn and helium is produced, nothing more. Okay, now after that what will happen? Let me erase this part. So, as I was saying, what will happen is that hydrogen will be burning to helium. We have talked about how hydrogen burns to helium through a sequence of processes. So, what will happen? Slowly, this core region will become what? It will become full of only helium and nothing else, because hydrogen is constantly being burnt out. Good. Now what after that? So suppose we have got two protons, hydrogen burning. What's the Coulomb barrier in the classical sense? Q1, Q2, R2. Okay, so proportional to Q1, Q2. That is 1 into 1. What about helium burning? 2 into 2, 4. So to overcome that Coulomb barrier, we need much higher temperature, right? Now see, what are the problems? Number one problem, the temperature not sufficient to initiate helium burning, right? Temperature is not sufficient. Number two, this was the zone where hydrogen burning was happening, right? This zone has the highest temperature, but now what is here? Helium. So, number one, temperature not sufficient to initiate helium burning. And what's the number two? Number two is nuclear fusion stops. right? Not sufficient, so no nuclear fusion. Next one, the nuclear fusion was giving energy which was helping in establishing the hydrostatic equilibrium, right? So what will happen? Hydrostatic equilibrium is disrupted. Again, where all of this is happening in the core, not other place. I am not talking about this place. Here hydrostatic equilibrium is there. Not this one, just the core. Fine. Now what is the result of the disruptance? What will happen? See, initially we are having balance. This was the star, the core. The gas pressure was balancing the gravitational pressure. And the gas pressure was also due to the energy it was getting from the fusion. Right? Now, if the fusion stops, what will happen? The gas pressure will not go away suddenly, but it will decrease. So, the gas pressure will be low, but the gravitational will be more. So, what will happen as the result? The result is the following. So, let me draw an enlarged version. The result is like this. No, it is not clear. Okay, so if this is the helium core, okay, it will start contracting. The core will contract because of the disruptance of the hydrostatic equilibrium. Okay, next what? We know whenever such a thing happens, because of this core contraction, what will happen? The contraction will happen very fast, and whenever there is contraction, gravitational energy due to this gravitational contraction will be released, right? So, core contraction, helium core contraction, right? Number one. Number two, as a result of this core contraction, energy is released due to gravitational contraction or core contraction, right? Good. Where will the energy go? Where will the energy go? Outside. So the energy will be released outside. What's outside? Hydrogen, right? So basically in a thin layer outside the core, the energy will be absorbed. And what will happen as a result? What will happen is the thin layer, its temperature will rise.
And the reaction will be more faster.
Right. And previously, the hydrogen in this thin layer, the temperature was high but not sufficient for hydrogen fusion. But now, because of the contraction of the helium core and the energy released, because of that, the overall temperature of a thin layer surrounding the helium core will increase, and then after some period, here what will happen? Hydrogen fusion will start. Okay? So, hydrogen fusion, no, number 3 is this. Number 3 is energy is released due to gravitational contraction. Number 2, energy absorbed by thin layer outside helium core whose temperature increases. And number 4 is fusion, hydrogen fusion starts in thin layer. Okay? ठीक है sir? No problem. Energy
Outside the core. Absorb.
Yeah, absorb.
By
Right.
the
Now, Now look what is happening. The gravity is always acting like this. Remember? Gravity is always acting like this. Okay. So when hydrogen burning will happen, helium is heavier than hydrogen or lighter than hydrogen?
Heavier.
Heavier than hydrogen. So where will the helium go?
Center.
Towards the direction of the gravity. So all the helium produced in the thin layer as a result of the fusion will come towards the core. And what will happen? The
Okay.
weight of the core will increase. When the weight of the core increases, the contraction will become faster. And more energy will be released. বুঝতে পারছো? So, number 5, the helium produced in thin layer will be added to helium core whose weight increases, and so overall contraction becomes faster. I am writing in a short form. Overall contraction becomes faster. This is the scenario. Now what? What will happen after this? You tell me. We have already discussed this thing. So now it's your time. You tell me.
যে এনার্জিটা রেডিয়েট করছে সেটা পরবর্তী লেয়ারে আবার ছড়িয়ে পড়বে, সেখানে টেম্পারেচার হবে আর
Now see what is happening. The hydrogen. Okay. After this, remember helium is contracting. Helium core, whose weight is keeping on increasing. So gravitational energy will be keeping on releasing. So huge energy is being released. Now we have got two sources of energy release. See, we have got two sources. Energy release. What is this? Number 1, energy release due to faster contraction of increasing helium core. That's it. And number 2 is energy released due to hydrogen burning in shell around core. Okay? So these two energies, where will they go? They will move outward. And so the whole energy will be radiated to the outer layers. And what will happen as a result? Because of this increased radiation pressure, the whole outer layer will expand. So now what is happening is the following. See, we have got a scenario like this. The outer layer is increasing, right? We have got a core which is contracting, right? And also the helium layer, thin helium shell, this is also slowly increasing. So it's got a unique scenario, 3 very different states. Number 1, helium core, no fusion. Number 2, shell around helium core, fusion. Number 3, bigger shell around hydrogen shell, outside the hydrogen shell. Again no fusion, but the overall temperature increases. Now what happens as a result is that the surface temperature, if I am talking about the sun, what's the surface temperature of the sun? Is 3000, right, approximately 6000 Kelvin. Now if I am talking about the sun here, then because of this increase in the surface, what will happen? The overall energy will be redistributed over a larger area. So overall temperature will decrease. And although previously the sun's surface was 6000 Kelvin, the surface temperature now will be around 5000 Kelvin. But, a big but, the but is that now the new radius is of the order of say 200 times the solar radius. what will happen due to these two things? Now what is the surface area? 4 pi r square. Right? The new surface radius is 200 times. So what's the new surface area compared to the old one? 400 times. Right? So the new surface area is 400 times. I mean, so this overall star, it expands. What about the color of the star? You see the temperature has decreased. And the overall color, if you see from the outside, it will be somewhat reddish, yellowish. Okay, it's in the range. If you think about it, the wavelength corresponding to this temperature. So overall, we have a giant star, which is slightly reddish yellow in color, and this is known as red giant. Well, we won't be here living to see our sun evolving into a red giant, because number one, our life is short. Number two, when it becomes red giant, it eats away Earth as well, the expansion. Okay, so you see this overall evolution. This is the first part of post main sequence evolution. Previously, we were talking about pre-main sequence evolution. That means the evolution while coming to the main sequence. Now we are talking about evolution after the main sequence. So if I talk about the HR diagram, right? Temperature, luminosity, and if this is my star, so if this was the path, where will it evolve to now? See, the overall luminosity increases, right? So it will slowly evolve to this direction. So this is the first stage towards the post-main sequence evolution. And today I have talked about the red giant phase overall. So again, starting only hydrogen, then slowly situation becomes complicated, more and more helium core is formed, but no fusion, right? So helium contracts because of disruption of hydrostatic equilibrium. Again, the disruption happens in the core only, not outside, right? Then the energy released increases the temperature of the surrounding hydrogen shell, where as a result fusion starts, and overall then what will happen? The core's weight keeps on increasing because of the helium being added up, and as a result now we have got two sources of energy, and all this causes the energy will be released outward to the outer layers, and all this causes the overall layers to expand. What happens after that we will talk about in the next class. ठीक है? Any more questions?
স্যার কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে আপনি যখন বললেন না যে ওই হিলিয়ামটা বার্নিং হচ্ছে, হ্যাঁ, তখন টেম্পারেচার ইজ নট সাফিসিয়েন্ট
Because the Coulomb barrier is 4 times.
সাফিসিয়েন্ট হতো স্যার,
It will happen. How will it happen? You see what is happening? The core is contracting. When the core is contracting, the gravitational energy is released, and also things are coming close to each other, and slowly the temperature will increase. So after some time, automatically we don't have to do anything.
AC will be burned.
Right, the temperature will increase later on, and the next stage of hydrogen of nuclear fusion will start. Okay, I will talk about it in later class. Right now I have just talked about the stage. This is the consequence of hydrogen burning to helium and beyond. Still I have not gone beyond, just hydrogen to helium, but helium has not started. So this is the stage of red giant star. Helium has still not initiated. Now when the helium burning will initiate, something even more drastic will happen. Okay, we will talk about it later.